Okay, so we've got a place here. How do I know this is a place?
Spots.
Spots. Okay, orange spots look a bit like cigarette burns. This is quite a small place, but this is definitely a £1 fish. Okay, we've bought 40 of these. Remember, we're always talking about buying in bulk. Okay, if you buy them in bulk, you get them cheaper. I've got these. These are all £1 and 1p each to buy, so fairly cheap. Okay, that means if you make any mistakes when you first start prepping them, it's not the end of the world. But I don't want you to make mistakes. If you follow what we go through now, then it'll be absolutely fine. So everything on this animal is edible, apart from the gills, which are in here, okay, and the eyes, because we can use all of the skin and the skirt from around the edges and the head and everything for the stock. All right, but the gills and the eyes will make it cloudy and bitter. All right, so we're not going to use that. Everything else is usable. Okay, so to start off, how many fillets does this fish have? 4. So does that make it a flat fish or a round fish?
Flat fish.
Excellent. So flat fish will swim like that across the seabed. Okay, usually fairly low in the water. Okay, it's got a white side as well, and clearly it's going to swim that side up. Why is that?
So camouflage.
Camouflage, yeah, excellent. If it's swimming that way up, it's going to catch the light and predators are going to come and get it. Okay, but naturally, because it swims that way up, you can also tell, because although its mouth's the right way round, its eyes are both on one side. Looks a bit weird, but I'm sure if it looked at us, it'd think we were. All right, so it swims along like that. A round fish that only has 2 fillets would swim that way. Okay, so always if you're struggling, is it flat, is it round, count the fillets. All right, easy as that. So when we come to actually do it, we're going to take the 4 fillets off, but there's some bits to do first, which are trim off the fins. So I insist on it, okay? Lots of chefs will do it without, and when you've been doing it for donkey's years, you'll probably just pick the fish up and do them. But certainly for now, I want you to take the fins off. It's what we call good practice. You don't have to do it, but it is good practice. And it makes it a lot easier to get the fillets off as well. So we've took those off. Okay, now the only thing about it is on a fish, it's difficult to tell on a small fish like this, but if you're doing a big turbot or a brill or something like that, it would be more obvious. But the dark fillets are thicker than the white fillets. Okay, so if I take the dark fillets off first, very easy, come off easily, and then because there's a ridge of bone down there, when you turn it over, it's going to rock about on that ridge of bone, and you'll find it difficult to get the white fillets off. So therefore, my advice is always take the white fillets off first. Okay, there's nothing wrong with taking the dark ones off first, but you will find it easier by doing the white ones. So I think that's another thing that we say is good practice. So you can see down the back, we've got this natural line that separates the fillets, and what I want to do is cut into that line. What I don't want to use is the point of the knife, because if I'm using the point of the knife, it's a flexible knife, I'm probably not going to get a straight line. So what I'm going to use is all of the blade, okay, and once I've actually gone through the skin, okay, I can work my way down that line carefully, trying to stay as close to the middle as I can. Okay, now as I put my finger in there, I can actually feel that ridge of bone that separates the 2 fillets. Some chefs will cut 2 lines, you don't need to. If you've cut down the line to start, I can feel that, and what I want to do is put the knife either side of that ridge and just cut down it. Now that ridge is actually, you should be able to see it, I can certainly feel it, okay, it's exposed. That is very, very important when you're doing a flat fish, because otherwise you're going to leave loads of fillet on the bone, which we don't want to do. So I've turned it round now, and we've got the sack there where it's been gutted. Okay, so I'm going to ignore that side, because this fillet on this side is a lot larger, comes up and across the top of the head more or less finishes there. So rather than doing what some chefs do and chopping it off there, and you waste all of that amount of fish, what I want to do is keep the knife to the side, the top of the head side of that ridge that I've put in, continue the cut up to the head, and then just cut around. That way I'm not going to get any wastage. Okay. So we can turn the fish around again. Okay, we've got our ridge, and now we've got to start removing the fillet. Now when I'm removing the fillet, I want sweeping actions with the knife coming in towards yourself. Anyone left-handed? No, if you were, then you would be going down from this side first and taking it off that way, but we're going to go from this side and take off. Okay? Never ever, when you're taking the fish off of the bone, do you work away from yourself. Okay? When we're skinning it, we work away from ourselves. When we're filleting it, we're using this, it's a natural angle. Your wrist is designed better for doing that than awkwardly trying to do that. Okay, you'll have more control over the knife. So, am I going to start up here taking the fillet off, or am I going to start down here?
Down.
Yeah, why is that?
So you don't cut in with the bottom of the knife there.
Brilliant, because this is a flexible knife. If I start there, this bit of the blade is going to be putting slashes into the fish all the way down. So we're going to start at the bottom. And the reason why I've said about exposing this ridge, and we're not going to get loads in, some chefs will go in and just cut straight in at an angle like that and leave loads of fish on the bone. What I want you guys to do is put the knife in straight and then twist. Okay.
What's over here?
Okay. So, as I'm coming across, I'm scraping down the bone. A bit tricky when we get up to the belly sack. What I want to do is go underneath. Okay, there's no flesh on there. Okay, it's all just skin. So I've taken off that fillet, and what I've got is a nice clean bone. Okay, so am I going to start and work this way?
No, you get
I'm going to turn the fish. So it's a bit more tricky here. We've come up round the head, so I'm going to put the knife in where I've gone down. Okay. I'm going to take off the fillet. What I'm doing is I'm just scraping gently against the bone to remove the second fillet, and again I've got nice clean bones. Okay, so I'm going to do the same the other side. So what am I going to do first?
Cut the line down the centre.
Down the centre. How far up am I going to start?
Probably where it starts going straight.
Yeah, where it starts getting straight. Okay, so I'm going to put the line in. I'm going to cut down. Okay, I'm going to find each side of that ridge to expose that. What am I going to do next, Soph?
Cut in. No, you've got to find that little bone bit in the middle there, haven't you?
Yeah, just done that. Done that bit already.
Then cut towards you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which side am I going to go?
Is it tail side first?
Right. Anyone help her?
Start
Would you
The
not?
smaller fillet first.
from
Sorry?
outside.
You're gonna bring
Yes.
it. You've got to sort of bring it up here and around.
Thank
there.
you. Got to come up to the head and round the top of the head. Okay, we're going to expose the line. So obviously the ridge of bone is just there, so I'm going to come to that side of it and come up around there. Okay, so that's exposed out. Don't forget to do that bit, or you're going to get up there and think, well, where do I go next? All right. So coming along here. Okay, I've gone through the bone a little bit, but that's not a problem. Okay, so having a sharp knife. If you do nip through the bone a little bit and leave a bit on the fillet, don't try and get it off now. I'll show you how to get it off in a second. Okay, so we're still scraping along. Now I can turn it around. And in here's a bit tricky to get in, but we're just going to go for it. Okay, where the belly is. Work down. Can you see that I'm still putting the knife in straight every time and then twisting it and coming along? What I don't want is big chunks of flesh left on the bone. Okay, so that last little bit is going to come off. Alright, and all we've got left from the bone are the eyes, which we can dig out. Getting ready for the squeamish people. Okay, the eyes are no good for the stock. Okay, so we can get rid of them. Nice, isn't it?
Will we get marked down if we don't do that on the test?
You'll have a bit of stock. So your sauce is going to taste awful. Okay, perhaps use the scissors for this. Okay. Get in there. It's the eyes and the gills that we want out. Okay, because they're not very pleasant. Your stock. Okay, through all the other side. Don't get away with it that easily. Bit tricky, but actually you're only going to have one fish to do for your test, so it's not going to be the worst job in the world. There are worse jobs in catering than taking eyes and gills out of fish. So that's all usable for stock, along with that fillet. That is fish. Okay. Right, so when we come to skin the fish, first of all, remember I left that little bit of bone on there, so it's quite easy to just get the knife gently underneath it, find the ends of the bones, okay, and shave it off using the actual board as your guide. And when we come to skin it, okay, I'm going to put the knife in a little bit so that I've got something to grip and work my way along. Now the important thing when we come to actually skin it is that we don't try and do that with the knife. You will cut through, okay? What I want to do is hold the knife still. See, I've brought it to the end. There's no reason to actually put loads of pressure on it there and flex the knife. If you use it at the edge of the board, I can just literally, with the finger and thumb, if I wanted to, put it against the board and have the knife flat, okay? And I want it at about a 45-degree angle, so that would be flat, that would be 90, so about 45 degrees. Good grip. And what I'm going to do, and wiggle the skin side to side and bring it to the corner of the board. What I don't want to do is pull the skin up, because I'll cut straight through it. Okay, so just holding the knife still, wiggling the fish. Okay, I've got the skin off and it's nice and clean. Alright, all that leaves us to do now is trim up this bit that we call the skirt that's attached to the fillet. All good for the stock. Okay, and finally, just run your fingers over. You might have the odd tiny little bit of bone in there, okay? Very important, we don't want to give any of that to our customers, so just a little 5-second check. Just gently run your fingers over to make sure that there's no little bits of bone left. And that's it.